Talk to me, baby.
Ooh, oh,
Got the next line. That's a good little jam. I don't know what the damn song is called.
Was it Element?
I think it's Tory Lanez.
Oh, talk to me. Oh, yeah. I know.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
Cordell knows what but that's neither.
That's yeah. What can you do?
We have a chat.
We have a chat.
The chat is up.
Give us the GGs in the chat.
Hey, you already know what the going on, man. Hey, look.
Censor yourself.
You know what? To be honest, though, why we censoring anymore?
Yeah, why we censoring? What we got to censor for?
This ain't made for kids no more.
Yeah, go ahead.
It wasn't made for kids. It was made for sponsors.
Oh.
Yeah. But the sponsors is going to sponsor what they're going to sponsor. It don't matter what we got. They're going to sponsor. Come on now.
Like those execs don't be cussing.
That's what I'm saying.
They lose $1
What up? Welcome into Outspoken Net. Thank you guys for being with us as always. It is a Wednesday. Got a lot of stuff to get into with you guys. Before we do, we'll get into our introductions. I'm Cordell.
Marcus.
I'm Deuce and the spirit of evil.
Yep, hey, look. I was sick last week. That man probably sick today. So, the flu is going. Man, the weather it be highs, it be lows.
So I got four.
And then it's getting people highs and lows. The temperatures in their body just not sinking right with what they want to have. I mean, right now, we just in a state of we don't know. So I'm just
early morning winter, all I want to be keeping you warm. You said temperature.
See, look at that.
All right.
I got you right. The shelter you from the storm.
With that being said, please, before we get started, like, subscribe, share on all socials.
Like, please. And subscribe, please.
We are going to go ahead and start this conversation off with Rashee Rice. Because
that's a sad place to start.
I know.
It is.
I was rooting for Max.
Conversation that needs to be had. I'm going to read the report that we have so far to this point.
Okay, you better read.
Yes. So,
what's your favorite thing to do?
Yeah, right. The Dallas Police Department has issued an arrest warrant for Rashee Rice, according to Rebecca Lopez and Paul Livingood of WFAA.com, after the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver told authorities he was the driver of the Lamborghini SUV involved in a multi-car crash in late March. Rice was charged with 6 counts of collision involving bodily injury, 1 count of aggravated assault, and 1 count of collision involving serious bodily injury. So with that all being said,
aggravated assault. What is assault?
I mean, all people basically like
aggravated assault in a car. I feel like that's a vehicular or something.
Well, it would be vehicular, like manslaughter or something crazy if they died. But I think, can't say vehicular assault.
My ignorance on my lack of legal jargon.
Hey, look, that's why we got lawyers.
Why you point to Cordell?
No, I'm saying we.
Y'all lawyers?
Yeah, we got lawyers.
I have a lawyer. Yes, I do.
You have a lawyer.
That's why we have lawyers.
Oh, that's why we. Oh, I understand.
Man.
I thought you were saying we, like when you said we have lawyers, I thought you meant like here. Like y'all was finna lay out what we had going on. That's
No. Oh,
I got you. Hey. That's my car.
All right.
Yes, it is. I'm following.
I'm like, bro, I don't know
what's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like, hey, bring him up.
Yeah, I mean, the takeaway is Rashee's stupid. That's really what I gather for doing this. Maybe he has intellect and all of that. But I'm saying this decision that he made in whatever regard is stupid. Do better. That's really the takeaway.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like, young guy, a lot of money, the drag racing aspect that other people, young people, do from time to time. So it just makes it even more, on high alert when you have money and stuff to do those things, with better cars. And, you just feel more invincible.
Not Paul Walker, bro. Like,
hey, man.
Do better.
Yeah. It was bad, especially when he left the crime scene. I'm like, bro, like you it's not gonna work out for you. Like you left the car there with your license and registration probably, and
And you know that people gonna try and want to be useful, and they're gonna whip their phones out, they're gonna document.
That's the age we're in.
So essentially, requires a defendant attempting to cause or causes serious bodily harm to another.
Oh, well, there you go.
Even though he wasn't attempting to, is what he did. So
that's an attempt.
I think that's kind of stupid personally, because even like in a situation, if you drive with bad tires and you don't know you have bad tires, they'll give you reckless driving.
But you know you have, like, come on. You don't look at your tires?
Some people don't know.
There's no way. You can go to your car every day and you just like, dang, like my tires, like there ain't no type of tread on it no more.
You gonna look at your tires, oh, the tread on my tire is too low.
My tires, yeah.
Not everybody is like that.
Come on, man.
For myself, that was the situation that happened with me. And I was like, I got reckless driving for my ignorance. It's great. Like, you could say that I was ignorant, fine. But I didn't know anything about cars, bro. I just knew how to drive it. But I didn't know nothing about nothing.
You call Cordell stupid.
I mean, I've had a...
That's crazy. That's because I feel like reckless should be something that I intended to do and went out and did it. If I have no idea and it just so happens, I'm like, come on. And I'm the only one who got into the accident. Anybody else?
Okay. So in your particular,
but it's still reckless. You wasn't looking at the time.
No, but
in terms of reckless, just as a definition.
Well, I was saying the same thing with I'm comparing that to aggravated assault, because it is the definition. I'm saying requires a defendant to attempt to cause. He did not attempt to cause any harm to anybody.
Not intentional.
So
yes, when attempting to cause it.
No. But you can unintentionally attempt something.
So I guess the question is, if you're going the speed limit and you end up hurting somebody, does that law still come into play? That would be my question. Because
probably not, because you're obeying the law.
Regular.
But the thing is that because we know how, what's the word? Like, I don't want to say vicious, but how reckless driving a car is in general. Because we know anytime you drive a car, even if you're driving the speed limit, if you crash, it can still cause harm to other people, even though you're, obeying the law. Yes. So if you are, actively disregarding the speed limit and not obeying the law, then obviously they would count that as an attempt, because you know that you're going that fast in vehicles that we know could kill people. So I think that's why that whole attempt thing is by this law a thing, because once you have overgone that speed limit, especially by that amount, you are actively attempting to cause harm.
I think the better word is negligence than attempting. Like, you're not attempting to hurt anybody, but you're disregarding what laws are in place to prevent things like this from happening. I think that would be a better term, but I am not a lawyer, no ESQ.
What do you guys think the NFL should do? What do you guys think the Chiefs should do?
Suspension.
How long?
It should.
I mean, as right now, definitely.
Indefinite.
It should be indefinitely for now, but I think the harshest penalty should be 6 games.
The harshest?
Yes, I think the harshest should be 6 games, because at the end of the day, nobody was hurt, and and I'm like you suspend him, and honestly,
so what you're saying is nobody died.
That's really what you're saying too.
Because people were hurt.
Well, they were hurt, but it was nothing like, I guess, super serious.
It was. People were hospitalized.
Bro, like hospitalized. Because they didn't say that. Well, at least I haven't read. Let me not say. I haven't read that somebody is like in critical care or anything like that. So that's why I'm saying, like, there's no risk of life in this situation. So yes, like, you can go to the hospital because of the fact that anytime you're in a car crash, people advise that because of just the trauma to the head. They're like, just in case for concussions or anything of that nature, they always advise you to go to the hospital. So I can understand why people were hospitalized, because in that sort of car crash, you would feel that the the ricochet between the vehicles, you would feel some sort of whip.
I think there's a spectrum also with just your last point as a side note to Rashid in terms of hospitals. They want your bread too. So you taking a ride in an ambulance in certain states gonna cost you a lot of money.
Some people got good insurance. Ain't me though. But
NFL players are probably fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't know about everybody else.
Okay, so yeah, it was just minor injuries. I had a
because I'm like, I didn't see anything that was super serious. But at the end of the day, though, I do think I would be okay with him serving some jail time. But I think that jail time will probably or should be served like during the summertime, and then the suspension happens for at least the 6 games, to where he doesn't come back until what? At that point, it'll be beginning of November-ish. So
I'm thinking he's done for the year. I'm thinking arrested 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, you know what?
6 to 9 months of jail time.
I think
and
max that should be the penalty. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, 6 to 9 months of jail time, and that would take you away from the season. You're done for the year, obviously. If you're gone 6 to 9 months from whenever that happens, like your season is done. The question then would become in my head, from the fans' perspective, is, oh, should he be suspended when he comes back because, well, he was gone, so it wasn't like he really got suspended. He was just arrested, so the NFL didn't do nothing. I don't know how people are gonna feel, but I feel like once he does the 6 to 9 months, he missed the season. I don't care if the NFL doesn't need to do anything if he gets arrested. If he doesn't get arrested, I'm thinking 8 to 10.
I was thinking at least half the season.
Yeah, I'm thinking 8 to 10 games. If he doesn't get arrested. If he gets arrested, then I'm like, all right, however long that is, that's how long you out for.
I think half the season. You never want to see anybody get arrested, especially when, again, the intent probably wasn't there in theory. I feel as though, given that there are 6 charges, people were hurt, they break the law, I don't think he will get jail time. If he do, it should be no more than 6 months. Like, maybe 3 months.
Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like 9 months and then he gets out early on good behavior. You know what I'm saying?
That would still be crazy.
Out of all the things that we've seen,
say 6 to 8 games.
Out of the things that we've seen the NFL suspend people for, the biggest things have really just been for gambling and PED use. Well, but when it comes to like stuff with the law, like domestic violence and all this other stuff, it's never really that long.
So my only issue with that is Ruggs, Henry Ruggs.
Yeah,
that's his name, right? Henry Ruggs. His situation, it got taken out of the NFL's hands, right? Like they didn't have to do nothing.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, this is your chance to set the tone. You couldn't do anything with the Henry Ruggs situation to like shut this crap down, because this is very likely to happen again with young drivers put in these type of vehicles. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, you got to figure out a way to shut this down immediately before, because if you're going to be like, oh, well, nobody died this time, well, then I'm literally like, so you're just not going to penalize anybody for real, because if they die, you don't have to penalize anybody because the state will do that for you. So I'm like, no, you need to penalize and show the harshness of driving and risking everybody's life, including your own.
No, he absolutely needs some sort of repercussions for this. I feel as though with driving related things, there's a wider spectrum for how it could be received, because of the act of just driving fast isn't something where like you just want to be free, have fun type thing. But that's not something, again, you could have fun with drinking and then you end up messing something up, killing somebody, or doing something that's negligent or reckless, and you absolutely would deserve whatever repercussions come from that, right? Because you understand what that comes with. I feel as though the way that everything has panned out 6 to 8 game suspension would be fair. I feel as though the negligence that he showed by doing drag racing, hurting people, I think that would supersede punishment. But I also like if he ends up going to jail, I think a couple months is
so I guess other than Henry Ruggs, I think the closest thing that we could probably say is Jalen Carter. Okay. And obviously this was before he got to the NFL, but this was, leading up to that.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did they get into an accident, he was charged with reckless driving and drag race.
Mm-hmm.
His teammate and a recruiting staffer was killed.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, at the end of the day, did he get suspended?
He can't. The NFL can't suspend you for something if you're not in the league.
No, your team could definitely still suspend you if they draft you.
I don't know if they can suspend you for something you did prior to joining this private organization.
That wouldn't make any sense.
Okay. And like anytime anything happens, that's why when stuff like this happens, they just don't get drafted. They're like, they're not going to penalize you. The only penalty you're going to get is your stock is going to fall.
Okay. Well,
but I think that's in the policy.
Okay. So if that's the case, then because y'all said that may be right. He never got any jail time.
Okay.
So should we assume that he will get jail? Rashee Rice will get jail time because nobody was killed. The one thing that you could say is a possibility of him getting jail time for is leaving the scene.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, the whole reckless driving, aggravated assault, like
the NFL would have to be different if they put him in jail. Not the NFL. I'm sorry. I guess the state and how he is being defended would have to change, or how he's being.
And it's like you really don't see guys get put in jail for this. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that happen with somebody with drag racing that got sent to jail when nobody died.
And if it's
crazy,
and if it's right or wrong, that's a different conversation.
Yeah. All right. But I'm just saying that's just like if we see the news come up that hey he pleaded guilty because they're gonna probably give him a deal. They're gonna plead guilty. They ended up paying this fine. You got to go do classes. And Jalen Carter's license was suspended, so that was just like a whole nother thing. But
he was driving with a suspended license, or got suspended?
No, he was driving with a suspended license already.
So that's jail.
But he didn't go to jail.
That's cuffs on you immediately.
No, yeah, it was cuffs on him, but it was cuffs on him. Probably went to jail that night, but after he get out on bond, they just did the whole plea thing.
Yeah.
But anyways,
well, that is regular.
So I think that the whole even though we think that jail time should be a thing, I think we should looking at these other parameters where we've never really seen that happen.
That's fair.
I feel like we should
that's right. So the NFL got to do what they got.
Yeah. So the NFL suspension, whatever that is, because this will kind of be the first time that they would suspend somebody off of just reckless driving type deal. So.
All right. With that, move on to brighter pastures.
I love that.
Brighter pastures. Let's lighten up the mood. Yeah, 18 minutes. 18 minutes on the heavy. Let's move on to NFL Draft 2024 coming up in
2 weeks.
14 days?
15 days.
15 days. I wanted to get the day count. I looked, I was like, damn, no date there. Where's the date?
Because look, it's Wednesday today. You got the draft on a Thursday, so tomorrow be 2 weeks.
Yep.
So quick man.
I'm excited. I'm excited. We've talked about quarterbacks. Speaking mainly the people you guys should already know: Caleb, Drake, Jaden, McCarthy, Penix. We've talked about them in great volume, but we haven't talked about them as far as the concerns that you should have for these guys. Each, instead of hyping them up and giving them all this clout, we're going to talk about what you should be concerned with if this is who you're going to get.
We're going to be haters.
Yes, and I think it's fair to do the other side to keep it objective and counterbalance the rest of the world who thinks that Caleb already is a top 5 quarterback.
Who said that?
Yeah,
there are people in this world.
You know what, bro? We talking about the diehard USC fans that are like, "Oh my God, Caleb is
already there."
That's not who we talking.
He's already at top 10. Maybe I went too far and said top 5. People already think coming out he's gonna be top 10.
He's on what? Dak, Kyler Murray level.
Yup, he's already at Dak's level.
Okay.
All right, that is how people feel about him.
I mean, I could see it as a possibility in the way that CJ Stroud we think of. But
Stroud coming out, people didn't think that way.
No, but I'm talking about at the end of the season.
Oh no, I'm saying before a snap has been played.
No, but I know, but we're just talking about projections. Like if they're projecting that by the end of the season he can be that, I can only see it based off of the weapons that they accumulated for him.
I see it as people arguing and they're saying, "Bro, I got a top 10 quarterback right now. As soon as the draft happens, I got a top 10."
Hey, look, we'll see.
All right, so let's go over it. I'm gonna read you some of his weaknesses, read the people some of his weaknesses, and we'll kind of dive in from there.
You know a lot of goddamn reading.
You know, so he obviously doesn't have the prototypical size. He doesn't have the prototypical size, only being 6'1". You know, they usually like them like 6'4" type guys to see over the line.
He's 6'3".
He played, from what they're saying, played in a simplistic offense, mainly consisting of one read concepts. So we didn't get to really see him progress from option 1, 2 to 3 to 4 to I'm going to just go ahead and swing it out to my running back out here because all these options are here. So that means they may be having concerns about him reading a defense. That is something I think that's a fair concern to have. Do you guys actually believe that that is an issue with him?
No.
We'll get into
his
mechanics. We talked about this a little bit already before show, but his mechanics, footwork, hit or miss, needs cleaning. Williams tends to hold the ball loosely. That can cause strip sacks.
And go confident. That's where they come from. He's like, nobody's going to take this ball from me. That's all it is.
Vic's the only person who I saw do that and live to tell the tale.
No.
Is there anybody else you saw carry that thing like a loaf of bread? Yeah. Sorry, I was just about to say. I was just about to say. Because when I went away from quarterbacks, I went to him.
Even Kyler Murray.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Kyler be swinging.
He getting out of bounds. He know how to not get hit. He be getting down. He be getting away from.
That's why he's a baseball player.
So, yeah, those are his concerns. What do we think is fair? What do we think is really a thing?
I think that the confidence that he plays with will have him lax in some situations, which feeds into the mechanics being off occasionally. There are some plays where he doesn't necessarily have to leave his feet to make a throw or throw it off of his back foot. He's kind of just being a little more. What's the word I'm looking for? Not polished, but like intentful with his movements. Not just kind of okay, he opened boom, just throw that jump.
He has too much confidence in his throwing ability to be able to just make any kind of throw.
Just with certain plays. Like it didn't happen that often. Like 3 of his 5 interceptions that he had this past year. Right? And let's see. The one, I think his third one, where he was rolling left and he threw that jump on the sideline. He forced it. Nobody was open. Dude came and picked it off. Like just being like, I can make this throw. So he did that.
I would say then this is even more of a concern because NFL windows are tighter. So if your mechanics are creating these inaccuracies
or your
in college, if it's creating these issues in college, then I think that's a fair assessment then to say these issues.
It was very minuscule.
If your mechanics are consistent and the game is moving faster and the windows are getting smaller, then some of those you'll see more interceptions than you saw in college.
But think about this though. If you're saying that more interceptions, but he never had more than 6 in college.
He had 5 or less all 3 years.
All 3 years. So even if he doubled that and you had 10. 10 still isn't a bad number in the NFL. That's just like a hypothetical. You double that. I think for the most part, he is very careful with the football. I don't think he throws a lot of passes that are like interception worthy plays. I think the deal is because you're saying that, okay, like yes, he can make those throws, but it's just like we're just saying he doesn't have to try. And it's like he said that, there's like the confidence that he has in his arm to be able to make those throws. And that's why like he's kind of compared to Aaron Rodgers. Because Aaron Rodgers did those type of things, but Aaron Rodgers never threw hella interceptions because he knew kind of when to do that and where to place it in order to not be an interception worthy type of play. I'm not really worried about Caleb Williams in terms of that as much. For me, I would only be worried in, him, just the pressure of not living up to the expectation of being, the guy that he's supposed to be. Like freshman year, he came onto the scene at Oklahoma, ended up kind of creating a bang. Then you go to USC, you win the Heisman Trophy, and then, your next year, it's just like a lesser year that people can clearly see that, oh, okay, well, is it just because of the weapons? Is it just because like the team just wasn't as good as a whole? Like, what was the reasoning? I think the one thing with Caleb is when it comes to big games, I feel like, and maybe this is just more of a USC thing, but they just never seem to be able to overcome a lot of those games. You can look at this year against Notre Dame. You can look at last year against Tulane in the Cotton Bowl where they lost that one. You can look at, the year before,
was a little shaky this past
the Oregon game. Yes, you can also look at the 2 games against Utah last year, which was like his worst games of the season. So it's like these big games that they had, you hardly ever saw them come out on top.
So, and in these big games, we're saying he faced stiffer competition. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
so again,
so are you saying that? So is it just because like Oregon was better, Washington?
I mean, yeah, they were better teams. I'm just saying that you hardly saw when it's like.
Well, my concern is that from what you guys are saying is that we're saying, okay, in these big games against tougher defenses,
it's not always tougher. No. It's not about him being shaky. It's just it's a high scoring game that they just weren't able to win.
So he was still productive.
Yeah,
he was.
Except against Notre Dame. That was the one game.
Winning and losing, that's a team thing. But if he's still putting up his regular numbers in those games, then I can't say that.
So the only.
I think that's unfair.
No.
Oregon 56%, 1 touchdown, 0.
That's bad.
56%, 291, 1 touchdown passing, 1 touchdown rushing, no interceptions. But they lost 34 to
9. It's not really like it's bad for him,
right?
But it's like it's not like a terrible game, as well as like the US
6% passing, no matter who is bad.
He was under duress. if that adds to it, but like
yeah, I mean, sometimes you just can't like. And
do you think he won't be under duress in the NFL?
Yes, but he's
the Bears.
Look, just because. Yeah, but guys can be under duress and just not play as well, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be a consistent thing because it hasn't been for him since he's been at USC.
He'll have better weapons on the Bears than he did this
past year. He actually will. Like, which it's crazy to think about when you're like, okay, usually a guy that's picked number 1 doesn't have better weapons always when they came from college, but this guy definitely does. Better running back, better receivers. Like he's going to a good place,
and he got 2 better.
All right, I'm gonna move on to the next guy, Jaden. So Jaden, weaknesses. Here we go. Struggles consistently operating from the pocket, particularly with throws across field levels. Displays discomfort and inconsistency when required to make extended progression. Okay. Inconsistent throwing motion, So mechanics. Hampers accuracy, timing, and power. Lacks proper body engagement. So yeah, he needs to polish up his mechanics. Faces issues connecting his throwing motion. All this stuff is mechanical. This is all mechanical.
So with Jaden, for me, the thing that stood out was not necessarily, I guess it kind of feeds into the extended progression part, but whenever he would have pressure in his face or something like that, and he would start running, he wasn't keeping his eyes down the field. He was gone. Like, and not trying
So he wasn't extending play. He wasn't running to extend plays to pass the ball. He was running because he just took off.
He was gone. Yes. That to me was a weakness. Short passes was inconsistent for me. Just seeing certain flat routes that he was late on, that he missed, drag routes that he was late on, or that he missed, things of that nature. Love his deep ball accuracy. I thought his progression was cool, but I guess when you add the word extended, that makes sense. He's not keeping his eyes up. He keeps his eyes down. He's gone. Those are things that I've seen from him that were concerning for my future Commander quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, for me, I definitely go in with and actually, like, it's something to work on, but I don't really think it's a concern that, after a while he just takes off to run, because at the end of the day, I'd rather just get the positive yards and then just worry about the rest later, and you can just work on the other things. So I wouldn't call that a concern for me in terms of that, because we know that his elite trait is being able to run and possibly get, 10, 20 yards off that run. So that per se, I think my only concern with Jaden Daniels is the fact that it's just like, how high is his ceiling? I just don't see a lot of guys that have been in college for 5 years that pretty much started for that amount of time and that have became elite players in the NFL. It just doesn't really happen. So for me, like, that would be the only kind of concern for me, other than, the whole, just him getting better at progressions and him getting better at just timing routes. That's not the deep ball. But yeah, he's fine. And then just pocket presence and awareness.
What are your concerns, sir?
From everything that I'm hearing, he sounds like I should be pretty concerned about him being successful in the playoffs. From what I'm hearing, sounds like you're talking, like, if I just close my eyes, we're having a Lamar Jackson conversation.
That's who he's comped to.
That's literally, like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, but you're not a better runner than him, so you don't even have that going for you.
No, I mean, they're about the same level, actually, in terms of college level production as a runner. Just talking about production.
Okay.
Production. So I'm
talking about production.
How the production.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just talking about production, because if production wise, he was a better passer, and he was a little bit less of a runner.
I think he's a better passer.
No, for sure. I definitely.
I was just saying from the running aspect of things. Yeah, he's not a better runner, so it would concern me if you are missing easy throws because of mechanics. Because in the playoffs, that's not going to work if we're just relying on, well, you can run and get these extra yards, and we'll worry about that later. Like, that's what the Ravens were doing, and that's not working. We'll worry about that
in terms of later. Super Bowl.
For a Super Bowl, yeah.
In the playoffs.
I think that's a good take.
Yeah, for a Super Bowl, yeah, you have to have other abilities.
It's one of them things where when it comes down to making decisions in those moments and knowing where you have to go with the football and being able to do what you got to do, especially for Lamar's case, being in the AFC where he has other quarterbacks who we know to do that. True. Whether it's Mahomes, whether it's Joe Burrow, whether it's Josh Allen.
Jaden see too, so
he could, but
he's not.
He very well could end up in the AFC.
He's not. He will be in Washington in the NFC.
He'll be in the nation's capital.
He sure will.
So it's just a foregone conclusion that number 1 and number 2, it's them.
Yeah.
Like, Drake's already been dismissed. It's 1 and 2. Yep. That's what we're saying.
Yep.
I'm absolutely dismissed.
Yeah, I am as well.
Yeah. I think okay. The tale of signing Marcus Mariota to be the Commander's backup, I think that to me brought me comfort.
Plus the fact that Brian Kelly was like, he's going to be in Washington, I just felt like it's just too many signs for him pointed to Washington for me to believe that Drake Maye is going to
Maye and Mariota's play style, I would be like, okay. Like I don't see a huge difference in play style. He's mobile and he's definitely a risk taker, tough guy. And he throws from the pocket. Like I don't understand.
I think you're talking about capabilities. I'm thinking more of just
that's the
level
style.
of no.
Plus, I think Commanders want to go back to having like an RG3 type
guy. I would love that.
You know,
I
think they're gonna go back to that.
One season.
If you guys, I'm not gonna. We don't need to carry on. I just didn't know that we were just saying that he's locked in at 2. I thought it was a conversation.
Thought that
I thought it was a conversation until it started not to be, with everybody saying he's going to the Commanders. It's basically to me like where people were like, "Yeah, Caleb's going to the Bears." I'm just like, "Oh, well then." I feel like pretty locked in now that Jaden Daniels is going to the Commanders.
I feel like with the Commanders specifically, having Cliff Kingsbury as our offensive coordinator, having a quarterback who has a higher floor than Jaden Daniels would be better suited for him. I don't like Drake Maye's spectrum in terms of how low his floor can be, just with inaccuracies and missing wide open receivers and being extra same kind of confidence type thing. Jaden Daniels doesn't turn the ball over.
Wait. What about his ceiling? You can't just talk about the man low.
Yo, okay, threw me off. I'm sorry. Having the floor that he has, but also, again, I think that Drake does have a higher ceiling than Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
In terms of got the arm, got the running ability, like talk about. You got a comment?
Let me pause you.
And the frame.
The frame,
Can't
all
forget
that.
The frame.
Yes. Can make throws, tight windows, sure.
Let's pause you there. So, Drake Maye, his weaknesses.
You gonna transition? That's what you cut me off for?
Maye. Because you brought it up. His floor is low is what you say. Right?
So it's lower than Jaden's, yes.
Okay.
Jaden's, yes.
So here's his floor. And tell me why you're more concerned about him based off that versus Jaden. That's where we're going to go here.
All right. Go ahead.
Maye. Excellent scrambler, however, often takes too long to decide who to throw, putting a huge pressure on the offensive line. So he's back there patting the ball too much.
Sam Howell. Cool.
All right.
Go ahead.
He's often slow in his progression. That is literally you telling me again, patting the ball. But slow in his progressions, has trouble with some relatively simple coverage rotations, which is why he's slow in his progressions. So, okay, those two are the same to me. Yep. Needs to refine his base mechanics through passes, avoiding a narrow rotation that can impact throw efficiency. So he has some mechanics, footwork again, some inconsistency, some mechanics, prone to making risky decisions. Okay, so this one talks about decision making. All right, prone to making risky decisions under pressure, occasionally resulting in turnovers or forced throws in challenging situations. So we have slow eyes and progression. We have mechanics, and we have decision making. Are all three of those fair? Do you disagree with one? And how does that compare?
I definitely feel as though. So when I watched Drake Maye pros and cons, the first thing that I saw was just inconsistency with his accuracy,
which was the same thing you said about Jaden.
Short ball. Drake Maye was any level for me. I felt as though when I was watching Drake Maye that wide open people he would overshoot. The ball would be out of bounds. Jaden's spectrum for how he would miss a receiver if he would wasn't that wide. Just that could be mechanics with what is listed in terms of angles and all that science. Okay. Sure. Yep. I think that the slow eyes and progression, it would make sense. Having a former North Carolina quarterback on my team, I know what that looks like in the league. That's one, and he's coming from the same system. You know what I'm saying? So like, all of that makes perfect sense to me. I didn't see that with all of the play. Like, I don't have to sit and watch a game. I hadn't watched the games. I just watched certain like Kurt Warner break it down and things like that. I didn't feel as though he would be the best quarterback for the Commanders for those reasons. But I agree with them for the most part.
So are those bigger concerns than
Jaden's?
Is what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Absolutely.
I think in this stage, yes. But I feel like those are fixable. Because when we're talking about mechanics, like it's kind of the same way that we talked about Caleb Williams, where it's just like being able to have the arm talent to feel like you can make every throw at any type of angle, which he can. It's just the fact of can you be consistent enough in doing so. And I think Caleb Williams is a little bit more consistent doing that than Drake Maye. But the one thing that, as we say, that Drake Maye's, ceiling could be higher than Jaden Daniels. And I think that that's very true because at the end of the day, like we saw Drake Maye be super successful his sophomore year. And it's like the junior year, he fell off just like Caleb Williams. His junior year was a fall off from his sophomore year. And I think it's because both players lost talented guys. And at the schools that they're at, it's not like they replenish that talent as easily as other schools. So, of course, there was a drop off. And, you saw that in their record, and you also saw that in the play of both quarterbacks. I think the only thing that is different between Maye and Williams is I think Maye is better as a physical product than Caleb Williams. But I can also say that Caleb Williams is more polished than what Drake Maye is as a passer right now. But if you can get Drake Maye to be as polished as Caleb Williams, or at least close to that, like you will have a great quarterback. And that's why, some people say that, oh, Drake Maye.
Caleb's mechanics still need to be, he's not really that polished either.
No. He
arrogant.
No, because you can do that. In the NFL, if you have the capability, you can do that. We've seen guys do it all the time. So that's why I'm not really worried about that aspect, because if you can do it, then it just becomes consistency in doing so. Caleb Williams has consistency in doing so, which is why he's not a turnover prone guy. And even you can say like Drake Maye really isn't turnover prone because he had 7 interceptions his sophomore year and then 9 his junior year. So even then, it's still less than 10, which is pretty good in an offense where it was basically like, hey, bro, you just got to make this throw. Like we don't really have that many guys that are going to the NFL or highly rated guys, but you just got to find a way. So
completion percentage went down, interceptions went up, touchdowns went down.
Yeah, same as Caleb Williams. That's why I'm like,
Caleb Williams' completion percentage went up,
but touchdowns down.
Touchdowns went down.
Interceptions stayed the same.
Okay,
but still, it's a worse year because Caleb Williams, you can say, oh, well, his rushing yards went down, whereas Drake Maye's is still good.
All right. We move on to Michael Penix Jr. And scouting report says weaknesses.
What are you reading your scouting report at?
Mind your business. All right.
I'm surprised. Why didn't you go with JJ McCarthy before Penix?
I'm just going down the list. I'm not showing any favoritism towards anybody. I'm just going down this list.
Well, the top 3 was the top 3, and then he just kind of.
That's what I'm saying.
He just kind of scrambled it there.
You definitely could have kept the draft mock.
According to these people, Penix is the one is ahead of McCarthy. So
I wouldn't disagree with that, but I'm just letting you know what the people.
I would disagree.
All right.
So that's just neither here nor
Penix. Also, real quick, Jaden, a concern before I completely go off is the fact that he did have BTJ and Neighbors. No concern.
So they had good weapons.
I mean, the both you had two.
To be fair,
dominant.
To be fair, they weren't dominant until that last year. Like Neighbors was,
and that's when you won your
the Heisman.
Okay,
but I'm saying, like he didn't go into that situation with those guys.
No,
he just grew with those guys.
And there are certain things that Jaden Daniels carried over, like his low or I guess high touchdown interception ratio, the decision making, things like that, from the year before. Without them, go ahead.
But he still didn't get no Heisman.
Don't be rude to my future quarterback. Go ahead.
Because we could argue and say that he is getting less talent around him than what he had.
They still got good talent with
less talent in comparison to what he? Yes.
Don't be rude.
In college, this is what they were. These guys are
Terry like that.
Top 6 wide receivers.
Jahan like
you
that.
do not have a top 20 wide receiver.
Terry not top 20?
I don't even know.
Nah, but that's
I gotta think on it.
That's disrespectful.
I'm not gonna. I really do because a lot of.
I think he's top 20. I think top 15. You could.
Like I said, that's why I think. I said think.
You did say think
because I have to really sit down and.
So then, don't say flagrant potential stats.
He definitely. They don't even. Okay, either way, they don't even have a top 10 wide receiver, and he had 2 that were top 6
in college. Or would Malik and
I'm saying this is
Thomas.
what you're used to, right? So you're used to having top 6 talent on the field that you're on. You are not going to have
used to. He just had it.
I understand what you're saying. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You're being a hater, but go ahead.
I'm just saying. All I said was a smidge bit concerned. That's all I said.
Fair.
Huge.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
Like,
you being a hater.
Okay.
I thought we was putting out concerns. I didn't know we was getting killed for it.
All right.
Yeah, so, I have bias in this. You're being a hater. Go ahead.
Penix game could benefit from further refinement. Let's see, particularly in achieving consistency and precision in pocket.
I don't agree with that. His precision in the pocket is pretty good.
I was gonna say his damn mechanics. That man, the way his shoulder be pointed.
But that's just because being a lefty is just different. Like I'm gonna say like damn near every lefty has had some sort of like different thing.
Experiences occasional accuracy lapses across various field zones, especially on finesse throws, potentially linked to his unorthodox and elongated throwing motion. His ACL injury, I mean, if you guys are concerned about it, as a left-handed quarterback, Penix may pose a challenge for some NFL teams that would need to adjust. That doesn't sound like
a con.
Yeah. So, Penix age.
Again, who is your damn scout?
Penix
what they doing? Why they bias?
Hold on. Penix's age and extended college tenure. His age and extended college tenure may limit perceived upside at 24.
Same I said with Jaden Daniels.
While capable of quality throws, Penix's arm mechanics sometimes slow his release, offering defenders a split-second advantage in the quicker pro game.
I feel as though your take is ageist, for one. But
I mean, shoot, you got to be. I'm sorry.
I don't think so. Your thing was the ceiling of the quarterback. You think that their development, if they don't get it all, or if they don't have,
you don't like late bloomers.
Like I think
you don't like late bloomers.
I think like the way that I see the quarterback position sometimes is the way that the NBA sees their draft prospects. Where if a guy has been in college for 3-4 years, his draft stock isn't going to be as high as somebody that's a one and done because they feel like they're just reaching the surface of their potential. Rather, somebody that's just played in college basketball for so long, they're usually not going to be an elite basketball player.
I think it's different. I think it's different with quarterbacks specifically.
How so?
So with basketball, for example, making smart plays and making next level plays are two different things. Just like it would be with the quarterback position, but I feel like with the quarterback position, there are more like you're literally reading completely different defenses. So the next level stuff is more at the foundation than in basketball, where you can still learn how to get yours more efficiently, get yours in a way that you're getting to spots and improving your field goal percentage and making sure that your team is prospering based off of how you play. I think it's a little different based on basketball. For one.
Okay, so let me ask you. When a guy leaves after his junior year, why usually does he feel like he can leave? Are those guys usually have those elite traits that we feel like, okay, if he goes, he'll be a first-round pick because the NFL wants him for said elite trait?
I think that guys go their junior year because they don't want to risk their stock falling. They don't want to risk playing in college another year and getting injured another year. I think those are definitely reasons.
No. That's not the biggest reason. Because if that was the biggest reason, then everybody would go after their junior year. But people don't, because usually those guys that we're talking about that are as quarterbacks, they usually go because why? They have a first round grade.
No, hold on. And why? And why leave while I can? Because my stock can drop.
Cardale Jones won a national championship. Came in as a starter. Boom, had a great little stretch. Won a championship,
and then went back to Ohio State. Why? Because he only had 3 games.
But if
3 games.
To your point, if he was riding based off of stock, his stock was
but it was
crazy.
Yeah, it dropped, but nobody thought he was a for sure first round pick.
But his stock dropped. If he was just riding high on whatever that was.
But we're talking about guys that are first round picks.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying if Cardale came out after that season, maximizing, you literally can't do no better than what he did in the stretch in which he started.
Yes,
and he could have came out and maximized that and gone to the league, but he chose to go back. Why? Maybe he knew that he needed to develop. Maybe he wanted to win another championship.
So then basically he just proved why he wasn't the pick that he was supposed to be.
Correct. Which is his fault.
But we're talking about guys that we know that if they come out after their junior year, they're first round guys. Why? Because they have some sort of elite trait that we already know about. And so why? And that's the only reason why guys like that leave school early. So what I'm saying is the guys that stay in for that long, it's usually they don't have that elite trait to make them feel like they are first round talent to leave early. No one's leaving early at this point if they're like, oh, dang, like I'm probably going to be a second or third round guy. They don't have to. They're striving to be that first round guy. But those guys that are leaving after their junior years, because they're like, I know I'm a first round guy.
I think Jaden has elite traits. I think Michael Penix has elite traits.
So hold on. So we want to talk about Jaden Daniels. It's like, yes, Jaden Daniels had the elite trait of being able to run, right? That's what we see that his elite trait is, but he had to become a better passer because people felt like, when
he did.
So yes, and he did, which is why he's a tier 1. No.
I disagree.
I don't think he has them.
Well,
he's a good quarterback. I don't think he has that elite trait.
Of an arm strength?
Yeah, I don't put it. I don't put it on par with the elite trait guys that we talked about arm strength when it came to Josh Allen, Anthony Richardson type guy. He does not have that type of arm.
So what, by 5 yards? In terms of the depth of the throw?
The depth, the velocity, all that stuff.
Corner routes.
Here. If that was the case, he would have been a first round pick.
He still might be. We have people who are projecting 5-6 quarterbacks. Five quarterbacks to go in the first round. Michael Penix being one of those quarterbacks.
Okay, so do you have him as a tier 1?
A tier 1?
Yeah.
I only have the top 3 guys.
Why?
Because of the totality of their game.
Not because he doesn't have.
No. But okay, but that's the thing though. What is the difference between the totality of Penix's game and the totality of somebody like Drake Maye? Because when you talk about passing, would you not say that Penix is the better passer at this point
than Drake Maye?
Yeah.
So I think we put a lot of stock in how the motion and such looks, and putting people in certain situations in where their throwing motion, Michael Penix's, their throwing motion will get them into more trouble compared to other quarterbacks.
So is he a better passer or not?
Oh, you're talking about better passer.
I'm asking you.
It's a good question. No.
You're saying that he has an elite arm. So if he has an elite arm, that means it's on par with what Drake Maye can do.
Having an elite arm does not mean that, no. Because I could sit here and say that Drake Maye had is a better passer than Josh Allen was coming out of college, but he did not have the elite arm that Josh Allen had. That don't mean you're a better passer because you have an elite arm. You just have an elite arm. You don't have the control yet to use that strength yet. That needs to be polished.
Okay, but we just said how we felt like Michael Penix has the elite arm, plus he has precision passing and stuff, right?
I think Drake.
So then that would be.
Don't know about the
precision passing.
I think Drake Maye in tight windows is better than Michael Penix. I don't think it's by as much.
Well, you think that Drake Maye is better in tight windows.
In tight windows.
And I think that's fair. Because I can sit here and say that Rome and Polk definitely made some phenomenal catches to bail out
a throw.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am very comfortable with saying that part. Like, he still needs to learn to wield his weapon better.
But do I think
which is okay?
Michael Penix could make all the throws that you need him to? Yes, I do. I think that you can improve some touch. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some over the top, a little feather it. You know what I'm saying? You can improve upon that.
Like, when I think of a person who doesn't have elite traits, no offense, but I'm thinking Tua. Okay. That is not elite traits. I'm thinking.
But his elite trait is just accuracy.
Accuracy isn't okay. There's skill and there's talent, right?
But it's a trait, regardless.
What does trait fit in terms
I think a trait is a skill. Hold on. Yes, because when we talk about when people say elite talent, so yeah, you need to make up your mind on what we're talking about. When they talk about elite talent, that is something that you just have. That's not something that can be taught. That's something you have. A skill can be developed. It can be honed. Accuracy can be developed. It can be honed. That is not a talent. Yes, you have seen all the people have better
because some people they can have they've just never been super accurate their whole career. So it's like, is that always something that it's something that you can like get better at, but like how much better?
Josh Allen.
But as he said, Josh Allen is one of one. That doesn't happen a lot where you have that sort of jump.
Well, for him, all it took was his mechanics to get fixed.
So
his mechanics were all over the place.
But what I'm saying is, did we see that?
Him a number one wide receiver.
Did we see that with Cam Newton?
No.
Did we see that with like a guy like Brett Favre?
But
like there are certain.
I think Brett was just reckless. I don't know if I had an issue with his actual accuracy. I just think he just made bad decisions as a gunslinger. I don't think I had an issue with him. No, I don't think anybody talks about him being an inaccurate quarterback. I thought they just
he's not as accurate as other quarterbacks. I mean, some quarterbacks are just more accurate than others.
They are, but I think that accuracy is something that you can develop.
If it was
like, I don't think that Tom Brady had an elite trait.
He didn't.
His accuracy
coming out of college.
No, he didn't. Sorry, he did not have any elite talent. Tom Brady has nothing elite about him as a talent.
His work ethic.
No, talent, sure, yeah.
Right. My arm and what it can do, that is a talent.
But that's just based off of arm strength and fitting stuff into tight windows. It's not all that doesn't have nothing to do with that.
Fitting stuff into tight windows.
Yes, it is. Because arm strength has to do with that. If you don't have the arm strength to fit it into the tight window,
hold on.
You're not going to do it.
No. Because you got to be able to hit the window. So that's accuracy. That's why I'm like, no. If you're talking about throwing the ball with velocity, then okay. When you talk about fitting into a tight window, that requires accuracy. You can't fit it into a tight window just because you got a strong arm.
He's saying that some windows,
but you need a
certain velocity to get it.
Like, yes, that's what I'm saying. So you couldn't even do it even if you had the accuracy.
Because regardless, the defender would be there by the time the ball got there.
Right, because you don't have the arm talent.
So
that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is if you have the arm talent, you have the ability to fit it into the tight window. You don't have the arm talent, I don't care how accurate you are, you're not going to be able to fit it.
The only
Actually, you know you have no business.
With Tom Brady, he didn't have elite arm strength, but how many tight window throws he made, you had to say that was something that
I don't.
Little Zip, like
bro,
Little Zip.
All right, there's Tom Brady Zip. Then there's Michael Vick Zip.
Like we get it's two different things. I'm saying it's two different things, but what I'm saying is at the end of the day is what you just said with Tom Brady had no type of talent coming out.
Elite talent.
And yet he was still able to make elite throws.
Within reason. Within reason. He wasn't zipping it across his body because he didn't have that type of arm.
Again.
Yeah.
Right. So that's
and all the other stuff matters.
Right. It was that summer with Peyton Manning for me.
So that's why I sit here and I'm like, okay,
that made all the difference.
If he has the elite arm talent and the physical trait in the arm, we just need to teach him how to wield the weapon.
So Michael Penix has that.
That's what I'm saying.
So he should
need someone to wield it.
Okay, so he should
to wield it.
So he should be a tier 1 quarterback.
I would say I would be comfortable with it. Now, but that's not the way that people are viewing him. And which is why every time we have the conversation about the next quarterback, Jaden McCarthy, I sit here again and I'm like, why am I trading all the way up for McCarthy when Penix is going to sit right there for me? Because that is where I keep going.
Because McCarthy makes those throws. It doesn't happen often because he's not asked to do it.
Does he have any elite talent to you?
No, but I don't think Michael Penix does.
I'm with you, Cordell. I absolutely would take Michael Penix before J.J. McCarthy. I think that J.J. McCarthy may be more, like, he may have less flaws. He has shown that he's capable of performing in big moments. He's able to make all of the throws that you need him to make. There have been some GMs that are concerned about his arm strength and the zip that he may have, according to my sleeper app. I feel as though those issues Michael Penix doesn't have. And he also,
again, but he just said that on the scouting report, it said Michael Penix does have those issues.
Zip issues? Power issues?
He has issues of getting balls in the tight windows. Like, that's what it said on the scouting report.
That was even what I was talking about.
And the finesse throws.
J.J. McCarthy flashes strong for an arm. He battles inconsistency with ball placement, often forcing his pass catchers to adjust mid-route, inhibiting yak potential.
English is stupid, I get it.
Okay.
When airing it out, he struggles with touch and loft rather than just relying on his arm strength. This sometimes gives DBs a window to make plays on the ball.
They're saying he has the arm strength. You don't have Michael Penix arm strength.
Anyway. Well, I mean, it's...
Go ahead. What other jumps you
got? All right. On tape against TCU, he's shown a glaring deficiency in throws on the boundary on the right side, hinting at a potential mechanical flaw in his release or footwork.
That was last year. Game against TCU was last season.
They look at the whole college career, don't they? Look at everything, right?
Oh, so it'll be way more flaws for Penix then, but okay.
His dropbacks sometimes lack the crispiness of rhythm, causing him to telegraph throws, especially on out routes, giving corners a jump on the ball.
Mm-hmm. That did happen a lot against TCU.
Okay. So it sounds like he has issues throwing to boundaries, is what I'm getting from that. If we got problems with throwing down the field and we got problems throwing out routes, it sounds like we have problems throwing the ball outside the numbers, no matter what the route is. But those are the only type of routes really is either a down the field pass or an out route, or if you have a flag route.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. His dropbacks sometimes lack crispiness. I said that. Okay. Physique-wise, he's whatever. I don't care about that. It says wiry frame that might raise eyebrows.
Yeah, he is kind of like the Jaden Daniels type of frame.
His pocket presence needs refinement. While he's got the wheels to extend plays, he tends to bail from clean pockets rather than stepping up and navigating the pocket with poise. So he lacks pocket awareness as well. Football IQ, while promising, showcases a rawness in reading complex defensive schemes and disguises a red flag when projecting against NFL defenses. Ball velocity is a strength, but he often lasers passes when a softer touch, so he needs to learn when to use softer touch versus not.
I just watched some combine throws. That last part definitely resonated. I can see that beam. Like when he missed passes, which were along the boundary, all of his slants and things that were cutting middle, they was all solid, right on the receiver, eye level, all that good stuff. Boundary related passes, the corner strike right.
Mm-hmm.
Them Jones, whenever he would miss, it was high and deep. Beam shots.
Straight out of bounds.
Love what you was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about ball velocity, I feel like ball velocity
seems like he has it. From what they're saying, he has ball velocity. He don't have no type of touch.
No.
He has no finesse.
Even
he throws all his passes the same.
I wanted to see a deep ball. That's what I was looking for. I wanted to see because we saw.
This is why.
But that can be honed.
Michael Penix hold that jump, launch it. Joe Milton hold that jump, launch it.
But this is why I feel like those guys are tier 2 guys for me, because I feel like Penix, McCarthy, and Nix are all guys where they need to go to a situation where they're starting off like with talent. I don't think that any of these guys can elevate a group to be better. And I think that's why, for me, I have them as tier 2 guys. And honestly, like, even though Drake Maye did as good as he could, if you want to say that, if he goes to the Patriots, I don't think he should start right off. Because I feel like it's a situation for him to fail. Kind of like how Bryce Young was when it's just like, bro, there's nothing here. So I wouldn't mind anybody that went to, the Patriots, I would say, should sit. But that's why I feel like JJ, Penix, and Nick should go to teams that have some sort of foundation. Something.
All right. And Nick's lastly on the list. Nick's has shown growth, inconsistent, but he still has jittery feet.
Real quick, I watched the JJ McCarthy deep balls. He was getting that jump out 60, 65 yards down the field. He only completed one of them. But go ahead. That's my
he had a little arm strength. His reliance on sideline cues before snaps raises questions. The transition from Auburn to Oregon brought marked improvement, but teams may be cautious about determining which facet of his game can be successful transition to the NFL. I think, again, going from Auburn to Oregon, I think it's just a matter of coaching. Nix needs to refine his game processing. He telegraphs primary reads, and his hesitancy during receiver breaks can lead to so he doesn't have the anticipation.
He does have anticipation.
From what this just said, Nix needs to refine his game processing. He telegraphs, so that's an issue.
Your anonymous scouting source.
And his hesitancy during receivers break and lead to missed opportunities. So that means the ball is still in your hand when they break in.
Yes, and now that I can see. Yeah.
That's anticipation.
That's anticipation. He's waiting. Like, people who have anticipation, while they're in their break, the ball is already coming towards you, and you turn around and bam, it's there. He don't do that. He waits to see you open. He don't just throw.
I think for shorter routes, yes, like he has anticipation from me. I think once it gets past 10 yards, he's definitely wait to see when you're open, and then he'll give it to you.
Okay.
He likes to see them in space.
All right. And then improvises under pressure, introduces risk. Nick's tendencies to force plays or make impulsive throws increase the chance for turnovers. And his perception on oncoming pressure is inconsistent, impacting pocket discipline. A more reliable sense of incoming threats is crucial for his professional growth. That is Bo Nix.
Okay. Yep. I think makes sense. I think strength for his is him being able to throw accurately. I do think he makes accurate throws. One of the reasons why he, broke the record for completion percentage in a season for college football. Now, granted, most of those throws are short to intermediate, so he doesn't do a lot of deep throws. A stat that came out yesterday was out of the 125 eligible quarterbacks in terms of deep throw percentage, he was 119. So he is not a guy that does the deep shot a lot. Mm-hmm. It's mostly a lot of short to intermediate, and then it just becomes yards after catch type of deals. So he doesn't do a whole lot of the,
30. It's crazy because if you watch like Troy Franklin's tape, it looks like he
putting it on the money,
throwing it deep.
Not really.
Often.
Not really. It's like they're never like the deep go or post routes. It's more, a lot of it is more of like the crossers and the digs and stuff like that just gets people open to be able to make those yards at the catch, which goes in hand to he waits until he sees them have space in order to throw it, and then they just do what they got to do. So, for Bo Nix, I think, if he goes, like people say with Sean Payton, he would be good because Sean Payton with Drew Brees, they did a lot of those great short to intermediate routes. But once teams feel like you can't throw it deep, they will just crowd it and then make you have to do it. And if you don't have the guys on the outside that actually go deep, now you're in a situation where if that run game isn't working for real, like you're in trouble.
That's fair.
So of the top 15 quarterbacks, according to Sports Info Solutions, I give my sources. Bo Nix dropped off once he got past 30 yards. 21 to 30 yards, he is the fourth best quarterback in terms of percentage behind Jaden Daniels, who's number one. J.J. McCarthy is number two. Devin Leary from Kentucky is number three. And then Bo Nix from 21 to 30. It drops from 63.2% to 47.2% when it goes 31 and beyond, which probably like of top 15, it's looking like it's not in order, it's just in order from most accurate to least accurate, but it's probably like 6 or 7, middle of the pack.
Okay. All right. Well, we are going to cut it short here. Didn't even get enough time to get into the draft itself, but this was a good conversation, I think.
Yeah.
I think going into these guys' flaws and talking about that versus just hyping them up was a good thing to do. We'll get into some more positions throughout the draft as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us and being with us today on Outspoken. Say what you mean what you say. As always, I'm Cordell.
Marcus.
I am Duke.
Till next time, be easy, be breezy, and please take it easy.
Take it more easy.